Welcome back to my workshop. Now I've got to quickly make a trophy. Now this is for a game we're going to play at the weekend when we go away with a group of friends, and it's a Mr. and Mrs. competition, and I thought it'd be a good idea to make a trophy. Now I've got to make it as simple as possible with whatever I've got. I'm going to try and do it on the bandsaw with maybe a bit of engraving on the laser. Okay, so first things first, let's find out what material I've got. Alright, so the material I've got to play with is this, which is a very nice piece of wood. It looks quite dense, but I have no idea what it is. It's got a nice grain pattern on it. I think it's off an old conference table. So I've got that. If you know what it is, drop us a comment, let me know. And I've also got this, which is the inside of a bit of an old photocopier. What am I going to do with that? Right, so we need to know what my design is going to be. Right, so we're over in the design studio as usual. Let's get rid of this. Right, so my rough design is going to be a small base, like that. Then a heart shape, I think. Okay, it's going to be supported by a metal pole. That's where the bit of photocopier comes in. And then on here, I'm just going to have Mr. and Mrs. Winner. Mr. and Mrs. Winner. Something like that. So I should be able to get the heart and the base both out of this piece of wood, making sure I avoid these holes here because I really don't want those included. So let's draw a quick heart. Something like that, slightly on the skew, and then the rest of it I can use as a base. Right, so next stage is going to be to cut it out, and I'm going to use the bandsaw. I've got my rough heart shape drawn out on this piece of wood. The problem is my bandsaw blade is the wrong type, it's too wide. I need it thinner so I can make some tight turns, and it's also a bit blunt. So what I've got to do is change this blade. I won't cover that in this video, but if you want to see me change the blade, it's in this video, which is part of my blade change series. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll quickly change that and then we can start cutting. Right, so in your world, that's taken about 2 seconds, but in my world, I've just changed the bandsaw blade and I'm ready to cut this out. Okay, I've got a thinner blade in there now, so let's quickly cut this out. Right, so I've got my little heart shape roughly cut out now. Obviously it's going to need a lot of sanding, but I can now quickly cut the base and get the scale right. Right, it's no exact science with this. I just want to cut it so it looks about right. I don't want it too wide, so I reckon probably about that big. Is it not? Yeah, that'll be right. All right, let's cut this. Right, so I've now got my base, I've got my little heart shape, they're going to sit like this. Now what I need is a little post in here to actually hold it so it looks like it's floating a bit. And this is where this thing comes in. Now this is just out of an old photocopier. This is the bit that it spins around and it actually rolls the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small section of this. So first of all, let's get the rubbers off. Okay. Find out how big it is. Okay, 5.95. So I could use a 6mm drill. That's good. How much do I need? Probably only need about 70mm. Okay. And this is some sort of stainless, so I'm probably going to cut that with my angle grinder. Right, so to cut this, I'm going to use my good old Stanley Fatmax angle grinder. It's got a cutting disc in it, okay, so it's quite thin. So let me put that in the vise, put on some safety glasses and quickly cut through that. Right, so I've now got the hole drilled in my base, ready to accept the little rod that I've just nicked out of the photocopier. Now I need a corresponding hole in here, but what I want to do is I want to put this upside down in the pillar drill and then drill here. Okay, so this is straight and it's straight along the top. You'll see what I mean in a minute, but I'm not going to try and go through this edge because that'll be stupid, so I'm going to go to one side. Right, let's stick this in the drill. Okay, so on my drill here, my drill press, what I've got is I've got a little depth stop here. I've set that. So the drill goes in probably about 15mm. Okay, and that's it. So then I haven't got to worry about stopping or going too far. Okay. Right, so now I've got the holes drilled in the base and the heart. Now I think this looks a little bit too long, so I'm probably going to cut about 20mm off of that. And also because this bit and this bit don't line up with the middle of this piece of wood, what I'm going to do is re-drill that hole in this side over to one side. Okay, that's the plan. Let's do that then. Right, I've changed my mind yet again. I don't think this is big enough, so I cut another piece, and all I've got to do now is drill another hole. Right, let's drill a hole in that. Right, I think the scale's probably about right now. I think the next stage now is to give this a good sand, because we've still got loads of cut marks here. It's not quite the right profile. Let's take off some of this varnish and see how we go from there. Right, bit of sanding's done. I think this looks a bit square at the moment. So what I'm going to do is literally knock the corners off. So I'm going to measure in about 15mm, draw a 45-degree line on each corner, chop it off on the miter saw, and then I'll run around the whole lot with a router. That should make it look a bit more not square. Okay, so first of all, 15mm. Swap line. You can do this. Yeah, let's do that on each corner. Right, I've knocked the corners off of the base. It still looks a bit squarish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a profile on like this. Okay, just around the base. So I've got it in the vise here, and all I'm going to use is my small router, my trim router, with an OG bit in it. Okay, so let's quickly zip around that. Right, so on the actual heart, I don't want anything as harsh as this. This looks quite Romanesque and quite harsh. But on the heart, I want it to be round on the edges. So again, I'm going to use my small palm router and just do a round over on the edge. I may have a bit of trouble with this bit in the corner here, the top. So I'll go as far as I can, and I may have to finish that by hand. Let's see how it looks. Right, so these are all now ready to be engraved. I've spent ages setting up my laser just so I get these in the right place, because obviously I only get one shot at this. What I want is a little word on here and then Mr. and Mrs. on here. Let me show you how I've set up my laser quickly. Okay, so as always, I'm using Lightburn software. Done a very quick design here. That's the base, and this is going to be the Mr. and Mrs. on the heart. I've quickly burnt it into there, and I've drawn around the Mr. and Mrs. where I want the heart to go. So in theory, I should just be able to put my piece of wood in there, start up this extractor, which is going to blow all the nasty stuff outside, and then that'll be it. Okay, so the little heart and the base is all now ready to do a quick bit of engraving on. I've spent ages trying to get it in the right position on my laser. I've done a couple of trials. Hopefully it's going to be in the right place. All I've got to do now is focus the laser, and then I'll frame it one more time to make sure it's in the right place, and then I'll burn an outline of the words. If I'm happy with the outline of the words, then I could do the fill. Okay, you'll see what I mean in a minute, but first of all, let's focus the laser. Good. Right, I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to turn on both of those lots of text. I'm just going to push the start button and hope for the best. But first of all, let's put on my funky glasses. Right. Because that's on, I can now turn on this, which is my temporary extraction system. Hopefully it's going to blow all that nasty stuff outside. Oh, looks like just cut on the edge there. It's too late, I've got to go for it. Right, hopefully you can hear me over the extractor I've got going at the moment. That's doing quite a good job, but I really do need to get an enclosure. So while that is doing its thing here, okay, it's lasering away, I'm monitoring on my little shop air quality monitor just to make sure that there isn't too much pollutants in the air. Always a good idea, if you're using a laser, make sure you keep an eye on the air quality, because it builds up really quickly and you don't realise. Okay, you'll get a bit of a sore throat, but actually there's more going on than that. Anyway, back to the lasering. Right, so this is just finished lasering now. I made a couple of schoolboy errors. Let me show you what they are. Okay, on the heart here, we've got Mr. and Mrs. Obviously that's come out okay, but it's actually quite dark, very dark. Now what's happened, when I did my test piece here, okay, it came out okay, but this piece has got some varnish on it and this piece hasn't, because obviously it's the same piece of wood, but I sanded it off before I did this. So the different materials made this burn a little bit deeper. So it's slightly scorched around the edges, but I might be able to get that off with a little bit of sanding. And also on the corner here, okay, the S has just come over. Let's just focus that a bit. The S has just come over the edge. What I didn't allow for was the radius I put on here. Okay, but hopefully it'll be okay. The base has turned out okay. Okay, but again, I'll give it a little bit of a sanding. Okay, right, I'll quickly sand that and then I'll put some wax on it. Okay, so the final finish I'm going to put on these, because I need it done for tonight, what I'm going to do is just give it a quick coat of wax. And what I'm going to use is this, which is a Canuba wax, which is made by Leo at Handicraft. Okay, he sells this through his own website. Check out, if you can, Handicraft, very good stuff. So I'm going to put some of this on and then buff it off. Right, I've left this to dry for a couple of minutes. Let's give it a bit of a buff off. Ooh, nice. Now you probably can't see that, but in real life, that's come up a treat. Oh yeah, I like it. Nice one, Leo. All right, let's carry on buffing these off. Right, because I'm trying to get this done tonight, because I've got to have it ready for tomorrow. What you didn't just see is it all went wrong. The Ulbra that I had written on here, I spelt it wrong. Had a bit of a dyslexic attack. I spelled it wrong, so I've had to sand it all down, reset up all my laser, and I've got to do it again. We'll get there in the end. Let's give it another go. Right, so after that little disaster of spelling this wrong and then have to do it all again, I've had to sand it all down and then reset up I just put my laser away. Reset up my laser and then cut it again. Right, all I've got to do now is put in the little post in the middle, and to do that all I'm going to do is use a little bit of CA glue because it's quite a tight fit. Put it all together and then give it away. Right, well that's about it. It's all done now, finally. Few mistakes on the way, but we got there in the end. It only took me a couple of evenings, but it could have been quicker if I could spell. Right, so this has probably already been given away by the time you see this. Okay, a Mr. and Mrs. trophy to the place we're going to. Let's hope I don't win it, because that'll be a bit wrong. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. First of all, let's find out what piece of wood I've got. That's not very good. I'll do that again. He's making his own, he's selling it. Yeah. It's a bit tippy there. It'll be fine. In the bench, in the drill vise. Oh. All I've got to do now is present it.